In this chapter, we will explore how startups secure financial resources to launch and grow. We will examine the different funding sources and the role of public support programs, especially in our country, and key strategic elements such as intellectual property and tax uh, uh, benefits. We will talk about this aspect to understand the essential of building a sustainable and competitive start. So, in general, a startup really relies on a single source of funding. So they will combine multiple options depending on their stage of development. In the earlier stage of startups, we will prefer to be flexible and accessible to funding, while more mature startups seek larger investments to develop their activities. So we have to choose the right funding mix directly impacts control, risk, and growth potential. So we have to make the right decision to mix these sources, how to mix these sources, and depending also to the stage of the growth of our startup. So in the following, we will explore the main sources of funding of a startup. So the first source of funding is the personal investment. The personal investment is usually the first starting point of every startup. Entrepreneurs use their own savings to finance the initial phase of their business, and this demonstrates commitment and builds credibility with future investors. However, this type of funding is it is exposed to a very financial. It is exposed to a risk, financial risk, if the projects fail. So we have to use this source of funding, but we have to take into account that if our project fails, our investment or our personal investment will be lost. So this is the first type of investment which will be used for startup, and essentially this is the starting point of each startup. When we make a startup, we'll commence by using our personal investment, our personal money to financiate activities of our business. So the second type of financement or source of funding is what we call love money. The love money comes from family, friends, your spouse, parents, other family members or friends can lend your money, can give you some money to start your project. And these members of family or friends will trust on your capacity to make money, to make your project successful. It is easier to obtain and more flexible than bank loans, because here we are looking for uh, some emotional relation. Is very flexible. It is very easy to have this money from your parents, for example, or from member of your family, in comparison with bank loans. However, it should be managed carefully, because it can affect the personal relationships. So here, in case of your project will fail, it will affect personal relationship, and you have to do a clear agreements with this member of family or friends, to avoid any misunderstanding. We have to make agreements about this money to make the relation clear and to be honest on your business. So let's go to another type of funding, which is venture capital. So in venture capital the venture capital is designed for startups with a high growth potential. So here the level is very high, and this type of funding is dedicated to startups with a high level of growth and a high potential of development. So in this case, investors will provide large amounts of funding, and this amount is in exchange for equity. They will have some revenue from your business in accordance with this funding. They will in this case, investors will also bring expertise, mentorship, and their own networks to this business. But this type of self-funding, in this type of self-funding, entrepreneurs must be ready to share control and meet a high performance expectation. We said that this source is dedicated for a high level of high growth potential of startups. So in this case, investors must be ready to share the control and meet high performance expectation of the business for the source of funding, or for this source of funding. So the next source of funding is crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is a form of funding where the business asks many people to make a small contribution. Here we are asking for people, for investors or people to make their participation in the startup or the business, but this participation or this contribution will be a small contribution. So there are several forms of crowdfunding. We have equity crowdfundings that will give us, so we will discuss it about the type of crowdfunding in the next slide. So we said that the crowdfunding allows startups to raise funds from a large number of people. For example, donations in internet. We have to make money for our business or our startup using small contributions from users, for example, in internet. It is not only a financing tool, but also a way to test the market interest. And it is a very useful mean to build a community around your product or your service. Because we are asking for the help of people to contribute in our business. So we will build a community around our product or our service. So as we said, we have different types of crowdfunding. We have equity crowdfunding. So in this type, in exchange for their money, people or investors will receive shares in a company or the right to a portion of the revenue or profits from a specific product. So people will donate to the company, but in exchange, they will receive some money, like, for example, a portion of revenue or something, gifts or profits from specific product. We have the second type of crowdfunding, which is debt crowdfunding. In this type, investors lend their money to a company at a relatively high interest rates. And by lending small amounts of money to several businesses, these people reduce their risk. So for its part, the company receives a large amount of money, but in small quantities. So the last type of crowdfunding is the crowdfunding through donations or rewards. So in this type, the company will set a fundraising target, and it will ask for donations from people. For example, in internet, they will build a platform, and they will ask donations from people. And in exchange of these donations, it offers a token for the product or some services, a reduction or some special services that will be developed. So another type of source funding, which is very useful in our country, which is business incubators. So the business incubator supports startups during their early stage. In the first steps of the creation of startups, we will have these institutions that will bring their expertise to help startup to grow. So they will provide mentorship, office space, and also technical resources. So these institutions will help entrepreneurs to focus on their idea, the innovation of their idea, and also they will reduce operational difficulties. It's very important in the earlier stages of a startup to have the help of incubators, because they will facilitate some activities of the startup, and they will bring their mentorship, their experience in the domain of startups creation. So it is very important to be in a relationship with the business incubator, because it will give us, will offer, for example, access to laboratories, to equipment, to, for example, professional networks. And this will reduce costs and improve efficiency of our earlier startup stage, in the earlier startup stage. And the startups will benefit from guidance and have a high probability of success when they use this institution, in comparison to those startups who don't operate with business incubator. They will operate independently. So it is very important to be in a business incubator, because we have a very large type of benefits to success. So the last one of source fundings is grants. So the grants, here the grants are financial supports that will provide provide by institutions, governmental institution, or public institution or private institutions, and they are particularly useful for the research and development, for marketing, for salaries, for equipment, for boosting the productivity. So the role is, when the grant will finance your project. For example, we have public government agencies like ANSEJ, for example, CNAC, NISDA, and ANGEM, for example. We have these government agencies that will be a guarant to your business, and they will give you money, but they will give you some targets, to some objectives of your business. So you have to work on these targets to maintain the financial source from these governmental agencies, because they will not give you money if you will not reach your objectives. They will work with startups step by step. They will give you funding step by step, and for each step you have to accomplish some targets, some objectives, of your business. So, example of these agencies of the public support program, we have NESDA, ANSEJ, CNAC, ANGEM, public incubators that are installed in universities. And we have also accelerators, public accelerators of startups or private. We have also private incubators and private accelerators. So these agencies will give you money, give you also mentorship to success to give the success to your startup. But as we said, you have to accomplish some targets to be eligible to this funding. So we have to take a look also on intellectual property. When we have an idea, we have to be or to protect this idea. So for protecting intellectual property, it is a very essential operation for maintaining a competitive advantage. So in this operation, we have to protect our idea. We have to protect trademarks. We have to protect our brand identity. We have to protect copyrights of our work or our service. And for this, we have some institutions like INAPI in Algeria that will protect your idea. You will present your idea to this institution, this public institution, and in accordance of your idea, they will bring you the protection of your idea, your copyrights of this idea. It's very important that we protect our idea from business thieves. So we have to protect our brand, our idea, the copyrights of our business to be protected and successful. Also, our government in Algeria will give you some benefits, in exception, especially for tax benefits. So they will offer tax incentives to support these startups. You will not pay anything for the government in the first stages of your business. So it is a very good thing to encourage these startups to grow. We have tax exemption for these startups. So also our government will give you the opportunity to obtain the startup label. And this startup label will offer to the business more efficiency and credibility. And also, our government will give you some innovation companies to help you to grow. So, in this point, our government will offer a tax exemption to support these startups. And it includes tax exemption, financial advantages, for example, funding for government agencies, and also innovation companies that will accompany this startup. So such measures will reduce cost and improve the success of startup. So in conclusion of this chapter, startup financing requires a strategic approach. We have to make decision on how we will financiate our startup or our business. Entrepreneurs must diversify. Every entrepreneur must diversify its funding sources, and also each of these entrepreneurs have to protect their idea, their innovations, in accordance to public support and planified for long-term sustainability. So if we have a well-structured financial strategy with the support of the government agencies and incubators, this is a very important key of success of our business, of our startup.